Hi Neville, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks, Sarika. Nice to be with you.
First question for you today is how long have you been here at the Global Retreat Center?
Actually, I was thinking the other day it's coming up to 19 years, which is pretty amazing because it's gone by in a flash.
And did you always live here at the Global Retreat Center?
No, I worked as a journalist. I got into that even in my student days. I found I loved it. Got a job as a trainee reporter and worked in newspapers actually for a total of more than 30 years. And then at that point, after I'd been doing that for that length of time, I came to live here. But I still continued with some freelance journalism for some years after I'd arrived here.
And did you have a particular area of focus at the time?
Yes, to begin with, I worked as a general reporter, but after a few years, I specialised in science and medicine. It was a field I found I really enjoyed.
But then you weren't really connecting spirituality and journalism at that time, were you?
No, I would say that working as a full-time medical correspondent on the Daily Mail back in the 70s, I did that for several years, and it taught me that the narrowly materialistic scientific worldview was inadequate because I was looking very closely at medicine and the arts of medicine as well as the science of medicine, and realised that the mind was very important in either keeping us well or making us ill. Our thoughts and feelings were tremendously important. And I wrote a lot from that perspective before I'd started practicing on the spiritual journey.
But it seems that you always had this inclination for spirituality or some kind of a quest to learn something more.
I was definitely on a quest, yes. And I think the urgency with which I was looking for a different way of approaching life was added to by the fact that in my personal life, I was feeling increasingly drained. I didn't know how to put a stop to the demands of the job. That I see now, looking back, that was because I identified with the job so much that anything I was asked to, anything I could do to further my image as a successful journalist, I did. And that was a kind of addiction, really, that was, like with all addictions, it needed a bigger and bigger fix. And that was beginning to leave me feeling very drained, even though I was writing about health and medicine.
And so then finally, what would you say has been the essence of what you've learned from the Brahmakumaris?
The essence of what I've gained from this spiritual journey, which, as I said, has lasted more than 30 years now, is steadily shifting from an identification with my job, with my family, with my body, with my position in the world, with my possessions, across to an eternal identity that is free of all of those temporary material sides. And that is incredibly liberating. It kind of means that you continue to have your relationships, and although my marriage finished some years ago, my ex is a very good friend and wrote about that recently in the Daily Mail. And so, and the children, and the grandchildren, they're all in good contact. There are some sacrifices that you make along the way, but it actually it frees the spirit. It allows you to live in ways that you're not over-engaged, and so when things are here today but gone tomorrow, it doesn't crucify you. Like it used to upset me so much if things didn't work out the way I wanted them to, like a bit of a control freak. But now I'm so much easier about how things unfold. It makes you more detached about life. And that means that you've got this richness, even though you're continuing perhaps. I've come to live here, that's an exceptional circumstance, but most of the regular practitioners of the Spiritual University are still in their everyday circumstances, but they're enriched by this gradual shift to a deeper sense of identity. That's where I've taken most benefit from this.
Thanks so much for taking time to speak with me today.
It's been a great pleasure to be with you as well, Sarika. Thanks.